Welcome back to my channel. I am your favorite mother of 3 bougie vintage, and today's video is a storytime update, secrets revealed. So this video is a storytime update, or secrets revealed, if you will. We're going to talk about the topic of love bombing, and I'm going to share with you the part of the story that I left out. I told this story years ago on my channel, and so we're digging in the crates, girl, and we're going to tell secrets revealed. And I have quite a few stories that have secrets revealed. Not all of them are affiliated with this type of topic, but I am going to be revealing secrets, just a new little segment on my channel. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about this. I'm going to educate you guys on love bombing, tell you my love bombing experience that I was in denial about, and then shed some more light on the lovely, horrible, on the horrible world of narcissism. So let's get right on into this video. You've probably heard the term before, or maybe you haven't, and I've piqued your interest, but love bombing, by definition, is as follows. Love bombing is an attempt to influence a person by demonstrations of attention and affection. It can be used in different ways and for either positive or negative purposes. Psychologists have identified love bombing as a possible part of a cycle of abuse and have warned against it. It has also been described as psychological manipulation in order to create a feeling of unity within a group against a society perceived as hostile. While used for positive and negative purposes, love bombing is identified as a possible part of a cycle of abuse. Now, love bombing can happen in a lot of different kinds of relationships. And to be honest, when I first looked at my situation, one, because I was in denial that I was even being abused. I never ever considered the fact that I was love bombed. Matter of fact, I thought I wasn't love bombed. Not only does love bombing happen in the beginning of a relationship, but it can happen throughout the relationship too after bad things happen. So in my personal situation, why I never thought or felt that I was love bombed was because it's so insignificant. You might not realize it in the beginning, especially if you're not fully aware of who you're with, what you're with, you know. Why I never thought it was love bombing was because I felt like in the beginning of my relationship, it was more so just getting to know each other. But I used to have this screenshot posted on my Instagram of a message that I was sent way early on, before I was even considering being anybody's girlfriend, where the person told me that they secretly love me. And this is like a few weeks into creating a friendship dynamic with this person. And so when they did that, after all these years, like, I never looked at it as love bombing. But when I look back at everything that I've been through, I have to go back and analyze the things that have happened and say, was that love bombing or was it normal? The reason that text message stands out to me in particular is because I always looked at it as like, haha, they have a crush on me type of thing. I never ever anticipated that I would end up in a relationship, right? So when those text messages were sent to me that they secretly love me, I'm thinking they're drunk and spilling their beans to me. That to me was really the beginning of the love bomb, because the next part of the love bomb happened after my ex had been stabbed and he was in the hospital, and I did go visit him, blah, blah, blah. If you saw that story time, you saw that story time. The day that he got out of the hospital, he's in pain and he makes his way over to me as he promised, right? He said that when he gets out the hospital, he's going to take me out for wings at Wild Wing. So our first date. So this is super romantic. So it's super romantic. I'm like, obviously like, oh my gosh, like, he's in pain. He's in severe pain, and he is coming to take me to Wild Wing. We rode the bus, girl. That's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know, how else would a girl feel, especially a silly 20-something-year-old, like 20 actually, I think. I'm like thinking, wow, this guy's all in, you know what I mean? That was another phase of the love bombing. And then the third part of that, which was really a problem after the fact, was them constantly wanting to be around me and constantly coming over to my house every day. But I lived with my mom. So the problem that was there was obviously that my mom didn't want anybody to be at her house every single day. Like it was just excessive. But my silly self is not even registering that the person has moved into my house. I'm sorry. I'm not even registering that the person has moved into my house. Like, that's how crazy the love bomb is. The man moved into my mom's house, and my dumb self is not even taking in the fact that he lives there. And then once I kind of do realize it, I'm already so into him that it's almost like we are acknowledging between him and I that he lives there, but to my mom, I'm denying the fact that he lives there. I'm like, because he has no stuff there. And originally, I didn't feel like he lived there because he's so smart. He didn't bring his things. He would come after work or whatever, and he would just be there for hours and hours and hours. It was giving money long. But then we were attached at the hip. I had never experienced anything like that before, right? All my other people that I had dated before, they had homes that they were living at. But because of the toxic environment that that person was coming from, they were trying to find their own damn supply because they were somebody else's supply, I guess. I don't freaking know. But like, they were looking or seeking asylum. I ended up being the dumb person that allowed that from the very beginning. Like, you have to realize that somebody that is looking to gain something from you, or somebody that has ulterior motives, the only person that matters to the N-word, and I ain't talking nigga, the only person that matters to the N-word, narcissist, is the narcissist. Okay? Everything is them. Okay, so when they're seeking asylum, they're not considering how that can possibly blow back onto me if I allow this to happen. Because perhaps they've tried it elsewhere, which I have no idea. Perhaps they've tried it elsewhere and it didn't work. Somebody else's mama said, you got to go immediately. Whereas my mom, upset with me and telling me and pretty much giving me the responsibility to say, hey, my mom's not comfortable with you staying here, so you can't be here like every single day. Like, that's unacceptable, because they literally would sleep at my house, okay, and leave at like I think 6 o'clock in the morning or like 5 o'clock in the morning, take a taxi back to their mother's house to shower, change, go to work, and then repeat the thing the next day. Okay. And so I remember one time in particular, I had to tell him, my mom's like, she's starting to like raise a brow a bit. So don't come over this weekend. So he had to find something else to do because he was literally at my house every single day. He came one day and had some damn soup. My mom made chicken foot soup. And he had some soup that one day and just never left. Like, would just come every single day. But like, it really didn't dawn on me at first that he was living there. Because I'm like, he don't live here. So that was a big part of the love bomb, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like this person is obsessed with me. Like, they want, but not in a bad way. Like, my brain never registered it as that, it never registered it. This is not normal. This is not healthy that somebody would want to be around. I thought we were friends, you know what I mean? And so when a narcissistic person sees that you're willing to do something for them. Like, I was willing to allow him to live in my house without my mother's permission. So I made it easy for him to do whatever he wanted to do. I'm thinking, this is my boyfriend now, it's not a big deal. We're spending time together. We're learning each other. We're getting to know each other type of thing, right? So I'm just like, this is okay. But it really wasn't okay because I'm disrespecting the boundaries that my mom has set in place for somebody. Because it's not like he came to my mom and was like, I really like your daughter and I'm having trouble at my house. So, can I stay with you guys? Like, I will pay I don't know, $200 if you let me stay here. Like, I don't know, like, you know, like somebody that is actually being not sneaky would do that, boy or girl. Okay, but somebody that is sneaky, or a deceiver, natural deceiver, which is something that I dealt with throughout the years, but is not going to do that. Because why would my mom allow some random person to live at her house? Like, that's just not normal. When I made it easier for them to, you know, have somewhere to stay, and they saw that I was willing to do that, jeopardize my own security and safety like a real tomfool, obviously they're like, well, this girl's dumb. Because that's what I would think. Like, if I was a guy and I went to a girl that I'm getting to know, or you know what, and I realize, well, shoot, I don't like staying over there and I need somewhere to stay. I'm a homosexual. And I see that the girl is willing to jeopardize her own security because I live at my mom's house. I don't pay rent. I'm 20. I literally always used to tell my mom, I'm not moving out of your house until I'm getting married. Well, I guess I got married, child, which literally is exactly what happened. Once I left mom's house, I mean, we're not even there yet, but once I left mom's house, I was married. However, I didn't think it would happen, but like, no. So because this person is crossing a boundary and I'm allowing them to, and then I'm trying to cross my mom's boundaries, my mom is like, get somebody else to do it. Okay. So she puts up with it for a while, and they see that she put up for a long while. He was coming there every day. But then it got to the point where she had addressed me in private and I didn't, you know, nip it in the bud. And then I'm thinking, like, why is she tripping? Like, he don't bother nobody. He's not here bothering anybody. Like, leave him alone kind of thing. Like, you know, at that point, my mom is like, well, you gotta go. And so my mom wrote me a letter and put it on my door and was kicking not only me out, but him out, because she had accepted the fact that he's moved in. Whether he was keeping clothes at my house or not was completely irrelevant. My mom was like, this man lives here, okay? Once he brought that PlayStation, okay, it was a wrap. He brought his PlayStation over and we were using the PlayStation for like Netflix and stuff. And like even my mom would use it sometimes. And so in his mind, he's thinking, well, you know, y'all are over there using my PlayStation, so what's the problem? Why can't I stay too? So my PlayStation's good enough, but I'm not good enough to stay? Like, what? And so when my mom wrote that letter to me, pretty much saying I had a month to get up out of her house because I did have a job. At that point, if I had said to my mom, well, I don't want to move out. What you mean move out? Like, where am I gonna go? I don't want to find somewhere to live. Instead of breaking up with the person that is now pretty much getting me kicked out of my house, because I'm not putting the blame onto him. I'm thinking it's my doing. It's my crossing of the boundary of my mom, and not acknowledging the fact that the person has pretty much coerced me into letting him stay at my house. And I never looked at it that way initially. I never did, because I always just felt like I knew that my mom didn't want him there and I still allowed him to stay there. But like, anybody that really loves you, anybody that's really your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't jeopardize your homelessness or you having a home because they don't have one. That doesn't make any sense. And so when I look back at it, I'm like, gagged. But if you watch the Landlord Storytime from Hell, or Landlord from Hell Storytime, this is the part of the story that I left out. I never ever stated why mom kicked us out, or me out, sorry. I never stated why my mom told me I had to move out, because at that time when I was telling the story, I knew that if I told it the way that I'm telling it right now, that my ex would look bad, or that we would both look bad, really. But I put it the same way that I just put it here, where I wasn't respecting my mom's boundaries. So I never was mad when my mom told me to go. However, my ex was pissed off that she was kicking us out, and because we weren't bothering anybody. But the fact of the matter was, my mom didn't owe either one of us a place to stay. Okay? Well, me maybe. But she didn't owe him a place to stay. So when this was like one of the earlier signs that I completely ignored. I didn't understand why he was mad at my mom for kicking us out. And I'd be like, I'm not mad at her. Like, it is what it is. But her kicking us out ended us up at that landlord's house. Obviously, times got really hard, and I never, ever went back home. I wrote it out. I wrote it out. I don't know why. I just felt like I was with my person, so it was like, you know, it is what it is. But like, I never ever even considered going back home. I always said, because my sisters would do that, right? Like, my sisters would like move out and then come back, and no. So when I saw that, I had always made the decision that once I leave my mom's house, I will not move back in or ask to stay there. I'll go somewhere else before I ever go to my mom. Like, absolutely not. But I was never mad at her when she kicked me out. Now, at that point, obviously, Chucky is pissed off because now, instead of living for free 99 in my mom's basement on the couch, we have to pay, I think it was $800 for this basement apartment, but the basement apartment was in shambles. And so when this situation happened where I went to find this apartment, I missed another red flag. And the red flag was the rage and the upset and the belittling because the apartment that I found was not up to standard. I'm laughing, and it's really not funny. It's really not funny because I remember my ex being so mad at me because of something that was out of my control. So I don't know if I mentioned it in the story time. I have to go back and watch it. But like, when we moved to that apartment, or when I went to go see the apartment, Chucky hadn't come with me. So I went to go see this apartment, and it was being renovated at the time. So I saw it very quickly, very briefly, and the landlord had explained to me what would be done when, and I was cool with that. The thing about it was, the pictures that the landlord had posted on Kijiji was not the pictures, or was not what I walked into, but I couldn't really tell that because there was so much construction going on. But that was obviously done as a ploy, okay? So the pictures on Kijiji were a full apartment, like full basement. There was 2 rooms down there, one with a sliding door. It looked really nice, and it was done. It was a completed basement. So when they were renovating, I thought they were just souping it up, okay? I thought it was gonna be a nice little, I was so excited, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, my first apartment, even though I got kicked out and like it was not ideal, it was like, okay, well, at least I'm not kicked out alone. Like, at least my mom's not kicking me out and I literally can't afford to pay rent because I have somebody else to pay half of the rent. So I didn't really, it's not that I didn't care that my mom kicked us out, but I felt as though it was my fault. So very early on in my relationship, I was taking the blame for certain things. I think that because I made it so easy to blame me for things, or I have accountability. I don't lack accountability. I think because I have accountability, it made it so easy to put stuff on me that shouldn't have been on me. Because when my mom is saying she's gonna kick me out, I could have just been like, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. You guys, I am not getting kicked out of my house for a man. Okay, like if I had some damn sense back then, that would have been it. And then I would probably have been discarded early on because I wasn't willing to go to and fro for somebody, right? Because that's how it works, right? What can I do for that person? But everything was put on me from that point. I found the apartment. I went and got the, I think I had to take out like a payday loan. Yeah, I took out a payday loan to get first and last for the apartment. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. I took a payday loan to get the first and last. There was actually another apartment that we had gone to look at, but then when we looked at the, they were taking too long to approve it, and we needed a place to go, and it's cold, it's winter time, like we didn't have time for them to be waiting over the weekend to tell us if we're going to get the apartment or not. And they took the application, they took the money order, they hadn't given us an approval. And so this other guy, the landlord, had told us, like, you guys can move in, like, you guys are approved for the apartment. He was just trying to fill it with anybody. I don't even know if he took my, like, he didn't ask for nothing, okay? So that's a red flag in itself. And obviously that apartment ended up being a poop show. When I look back at my relationship and I look at all the moving parts of it, oh, I was for sure love bombed. Even a few months ago, I was in denial that I was love bombed. But then I was having a conversation with somebody and I just started crying because I'm like, it just hit me. It hit me. I was like, oh my God, I was. And it's something that you can't really see when it's happening to you. It's only when you come out of it that you realize a lot of the stuff. And so that's pretty much like my situation, especially where the love bombing is concerned. There's so many things that I think didn't apply to me where abuse is concerned. Like, even just saying that, like, it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real. And I said it before, like, because I wasn't a battered woman, like, it's so hard to even accept that that was my situation and that I had to actually, like, muster up the strength to leave, that I was scared to leave. Because if you are not being hit every day of the week or at all, why would you be afraid to leave someone? You have to realize that you must be going through something real psychological, okay, to be afraid to leave your partner. And they're not even putting their hands on you. Do you get the magnitude of that? Like, it almost doesn't even, it sounds crazy. Because it is crazy. And it doesn't, you can't even, unless you've gone through it, you'll never get it. Okay? You will never freaking get it. Yeah, it is so trippy to look at my relationship and realize these things that I just never even realized while I was in it. But love bombing is hard because once you're in the relationship and it's happening, it goes hand in hand with the gaslighting. So love bombing and gaslighting pretty much go hand in hand, because when you're in the relationship and something happens, like he beats your ass, okay? He literally pummels you. And then later on that day, buys you a gift. He fake apologizes, okay? He sweets you up and cooks for you and, like, just loves on you hard. That would be a great example. That's why when we see these celebrities or these influencers getting these gifts after scandals, it makes you kind of look at them like, oh, well, there's a love bomb. And obviously, the more you accept, the more they get away with. Because the more Birkin bags you accept after they cheated on you, had babies on you, did the most behind you, them giving you a car or anything, a box of chocolate, it doesn't matter, whatever the gift is, whether it's a gift or it's like a really nice date all of a sudden after a cycle of toxicity, that would be considered a love bomb. And that's why it makes it so hard to leave, because a lot of times you would think that the person is being genuine, the person is being apologetic, they are, being sweet to you. And so for me, when things would happen that were negative, I never really got apologies. But there would still be things where he would try to smooth it over with me. And I would be sat there processing, but I would be very upset still, and he would be acting like nothing happened. And so when I wouldn't receive that, then I would be hit with the rage, because I need to get over it. I wouldn't say that a lot of love bombing happened throughout my relationship. I think it happened in the beginning and it would sprinkle in here and there, but like I got more gaslit than anything. For me, it was just constant gaslighting. I didn't really experience a big love bombing thing, except for when I'm told literally like I love you. Like to me, that is still considered a love bomb. So saying I love you, I love XYZ, you know, that is a love bomb. I never accepted gifts for bad behavior because to me that's saying what you did was okay then because you got me something nice after the fact. I wasn't gifted a lot of things. Even though I didn't accept gifts as a form of payment for betrayal or disrespect, because I don't typically hold on to things. I'll process it, I might journal it, and then next day for me, like every day is a new day. I'm never gonna go to bed mad and wake up mad the next day. Girl, I got a good sleep, okay? Like I don't have time for it. So whenever I would be in any kind of conflict in my marriage, I would typically not even go to bed angry, you know? I would just brush it off all the time. And so that's why my relationship lasted as long as it did, because I would constantly be forgiving bad behavior. So I didn't really need a gift. And if somebody's aware that you are low maintenance that way, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be crossing my arms like, until you get me a new bracelet, I am not talking to you. Like, no. That's just not me, okay? It wasn't even realistic to think that way. For me, though I was love bombed here and there, and definitely in the beginning, and at that point, when they see you're all in, after the love bombing phase is starting to like go away, it's free game for them. I kind of just was stuck in this weird cycle because wasn't really sure what love was supposed to be or what love felt like. I knew what it didn't feel like after a while or what it wasn't supposed to feel like after a while. I definitely know now, right? But like when I was in it, I didn't really have the tools to properly assess and navigate what I would be experiencing. And then I think because I was prone to making excuses for my significant other, because I felt it's not even like you feel bad for them. You just try to keep in mind that their upbringing was not normal. So then you think like, okay, because they didn't have a normal upbringing, they maybe don't know these things, and that's okay. Like I'll just say, hey, this is not cool, blah, blah, blah. And then hopefully that like makes them learn it. But then they don't learn it. And so you're like, And then you see little things here and there and you're like, oh wow, the person is growing and changing. And then something will happen. You're like, they're not growing and changing. So it's crazy. Like if you think a narcissist talks in damn circles, imagine living in a circle. Imagine you know those little bugs that I think they're little red like spiders, they're little bugs, and if you have them on a piece of paper and you draw a circle around it, it will not leave the area. Or if you draw a straight line, it'll think that there's a roadblock there and it won't walk past it. That is pretty much what it is like to be in a relationship with a narcissistic person, or a person that has narcissistic personality disorder, or somebody that exhibits extreme narcissistic traits, or somebody that was maybe raised by a narcissist. Like, listen, it's crazy. So a lot of times I felt like those bugs that are on the paper that you draw a circle around and they just stay in the circle. And I'm chasing my damn tail, confused as hell. I think when I get to the gaslighting topic, so much I was gaslit on. Woo! Girl. The gaslighting was crazy. The only time I was really love bombed during the worst parts of the relationship was when I would bring up leaving or saying like we need to separate or something like that, and I'm hit with the I love yous, and it's never that I don't want this and that. Like that is what confused things for me a lot of the time. So to me, that was the biggest love bomb that I was faced with. But there's so many ways to love bomb somebody, and like you just have to be able to identify what or how your partner is possibly love bombing you in a negative way. For me, them saying I love you, I love my family, saying it is one thing, but then actually putting the action behind it is another thing. And so when I would be met with that in chaos, I would then sit and wait. And that's why the relationship gets dragged out, because you're like, okay, well, they're saying this, so let me wait and see, what can you do that's gonna show me? Because you can say it all day long till you're blue in the face, but if you don't show me, it's not gonna give, okay? I would be sitting there waiting to see, and that's exactly why it's a love bomb, because it drops on you and then it's smoke and mirrors everywhere. You literally cannot see your head from your ass, don't know your left from your right, and it's confusing. But that's why I say love bombing and gaslighting go hand in hand. Something is in my eye. I don't know what's in my eye, but it's bothering me. Anyway, even though I was knowing better, I couldn't do better because I'm allowing somebody to hinder me. Like I'm allowing him to say, okay, I love you. And then I'm sat there like, okay, well, what you're doing is not in love. How you behave is not associated with love. Narcissistic rage is not associated with love. And obviously I don't have the terminology at that point. I don't have the words to describe what I'm going through, or I have the words to describe what I'm going through, but I can't put a name to it. It's the most confusing, draining situation that I've ever been in. It's only because of therapy that I'm able to even have the verbiage to say what it is. I'm in therapy, I'm talking to my therapist, and my therapist is not even saying to me, you're dealing with this, right? Literally, it's after going to her and coming every week with, new testimony, new experience, telling her yada, 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 it having to be broken down to me what I'm experiencing. But like a lot of therapists have the approach where they're pretty much walking alongside of you as you figure it out. Cry talking to my therapist. My therapist is just everything. Anyway, everything. Oh my God, God bless her. Like, God bless her. When I say God dropped that woman into my lap and blessed me far beyond, like, I will forever appreciate my therapist, because she helped change my life in ways that I will never be able to even put into words. And I gave her all her flowers, like all her flowers. If it wasn't for my therapy sessions, I would not even know still probably that I was with a narcissist. I wouldn't know. I would just think he has issues, As we all do. Okay, I got issues. Oh, baby. Okay, like, but the issues that I have do not spill over and affect the people around me in a negative way. I don't find it to be somebody else's responsibility to fix me. Like, I'm gonna go and fix myself. I'm gonna take it to God, girl. I'm gonna pray about it because I know I can't do it on my own. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go to therapy. Faith without works is dead. All that. I feel like as humans, we are responsible for ourselves and what we put out. And it's our due diligence, okay, to find our biggest problems and solve them and ask for help where you need help. But you cannot go through life just at like a wrecking ball, okay? You are not Miley Cyrus, girl. Like, I can't. It's quite the learning experience, and every time I discover something new, I'm like mouth to the floor. I swear to you guys, I am still being gagged, okay? I am still being gagged as of today. I have not said, y'all think I've said so much already on this topic. I have not said the half. I haven't said the half on this topic. Like, the stories, the experiences, oh my gosh, it's deep. Like, it goes deep. deep. I'm just going to read you a little thing because going back to beginning of this video where I'm talking about getting removed or getting kicked out of my mom's house because of my now affiliation or association and my commitment to this person. This highlights abusive relationships. And this is on Wikipedia. It says modern social media can intensify the effect of love bombing since it gives the abuser nearly constant contact and communication with the victim. So if you ever left somebody and had to block them, one of the signs of love bombing in the start of a relationship is intense attention during a short period of time and pressure for very rapid commitment. I talked about this before where my ex would be calling me his wife, but he hadn't asked me to be his girlfriend. And so I made a big stink about it because I was like, chivalry is not dead, okay? You can't just come up in here and Christopher Columbus me. I talked about it, I think, in the red flag video, and I made a joke of it. We made a joke about it over the years, and even in that time period where I was putting my foot down because he kept calling me his wife. And I was like, I'm a single wife then because nobody has asked me to be their girlfriend. Okay, we are not jumping steps, but like, to me, that is very rapid commitment. And then him also moving into my house after 0.0005 seconds and me not saying anything about it because I'm being love bombed and don't even know, that goes into abusive relationships. This is literally the very first excerpt of this. Pressured into commitment right away because realistically, at that time I had gotten out of a relationship and I don't do that. Like when I leave a relationship, baby, I need some singleness, okay? I need to be alone for a long period of time, okay? I need to process things, especially if my heart breaks. Like, okay, I wasn't looking for a relationship, had no interest in getting into another relationship after my relationship had dissolved or ended. But this person was showing me so much attention that the relationship kind of just formed itself. So then it says, psychologist Dale Archer identifies the phase of love bombing with the acronym IDD. Intense idealization, devaluation, discard, repeat. Oh my God. Oh my God. And this is exactly what I went through. So the intense idealization is a mental mechanism in which the person attributes exaggeratedly positive qualities to the self or others. And then when viewing people as all the bad or the individual employs the devaluation, which is what happened to me. So I'm on a pedestal, I'm up high, then I'm getting knocked the frig off the pedestal. Baby, get this heifer out of here. That's what he came through with. He just swing that bitch off the pedestal. He said, no more. No deal. I know you're going to get a key when you see that, Jalen. No deal. None. Okay? Just get her out of here. So start to devalue her. She's trash. You are trash, bougie. Cancel you. You ain't nobody. Okay? Cancel her. And then discard. Blink. Like, well, he discarded. Once the devaluation started, baby, you are, just consider yourself discarded, okay? If you are feeling devalued right now, just discard yourself. Okay? Just out. Out with the quickness, girl. Okay? And then once you're discarded, they go find their new supply and yada, 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 yada. Craziness. I'll be right back. My battery's dying. And the process of identifying this behavior pattern is SLL. Stop, look, listen. After which breaking off contact with the abuser can become more possible by also seeking support from family and friends. Another sign of love bombing is being intensely showered with affection, gifts, and promises for the future. With the predator, so that the victim feels or is made to believe that this is all a sign of love at first sight. Oh, God. Baby, I don't like reading this stuff because I'm just like, oh my, baby bougie was caught up. I was caught up, girl. I'm sorry. I really was. Since such signs of affection and affirmation may meet felt needs and not look harmful at the surface, the excitement of such a new relationship often does not appear as cause for alarm. And that's what I pretty much described. I thought we was just getting to know each other. But when you think about it, when you get to know a man or woman, whatever, when you get to know somebody, are they at your house every day? No. Do they actually, like, to want to spend every waking minute with somebody is asinine, crazy. No, that's not normal. No. Even if you're getting to know them, you would text them, call them. You don't come over to their house every day. Go home, Roger. Okay, like, you do not go to people's house every day. That's just crazy. Like, and for me, because I'm introverted and I've always been introverted, the fact that this didn't feel wrong in the moment is mind-boggling to me, because I never wanted people in my space all the damn time. I think it confused me to look back at it, because it's like their presence didn't annoy me, but that might be because they just would always fall asleep. However, after the initial excitement, when the victim shows interest or care about anything beyond their new partner, the manipulator may show anger, passive-aggressive behavior, or accuse the victim of selfishness. Selfish was the favorite word to use to describe me. And I was always sat there kind of confused, because this is like, even especially after having kids, like, I was always sat there confused, because I'm like, I have sacrificed so much stuff. And I have a selfish mode in my body, baby. The most selfish thing I've done in a long time was leave. And I say selfish in regards to my kids, but it really wasn't selfish at the end of the day. I will never even consider it selfish. I will never consider it selfish. I did what needed to be done, period. But like, that word was always used to describe me. I would be like, baby, selfish where? I do everything for you. I do everything for everybody. Like, where am I selfish? All I do is give. But yeah, there was so much passive aggressive stuff. Like, I can't. If the victim does not comply to demands, the devaluation stage begins. The abuser withdraws all affection or positive reinforcement, and instead punishes the victim with whatever they feel is appropriate. Shouting, beratement, mind games, silent treatment, girl, and even physical abuse. It says anybody is capable of love bombing, but it is most often a symptom of narcissistic personality disorder. Love bombing is largely an unconscious behavior. It's about really getting the other person. Then when they feel like they really got the person and they feel secure in the relationship, the narcissist typically switches and becomes very difficult, abusive, or manipulative. Are you being love bombed? And if you are, what does it look like? I think one of the standout things in what I just read was that they typically aren't aware that they're doing it or that they've done it. I didn't know what I was going through. I didn't understand what I was going through. I regarded it as a rough patch, but only being in therapy has helped me to understand, navigate, and plan for my life. Before going into therapy, I had no idea about devaluation. I had no idea about narcissism. Like, everybody knows that word, but they don't know what it is. And then you could be in an abusive relationship and the person is not necessarily narcissistic. So I think very early on in my marriage, very early on in therapy, I had chalked up what I was going through with ADHD and PTSD, because that's what I had been told. Once I kept going to therapy and I brought up those things, and I talked to my therapist about what my ex had told me regarding ADHD and PTSD, what I had been experiencing with like the narcissistic rage and just a whole bunch of other things. I brought it to my therapist and she stopped me and she pulled something up. I can't remember what she pulled up, but she was pulling up and she was saying, though that is a possibility, abusive behavior and ADHD can coexist, but one is not because of the other. So she said, we have people that have ADHD and PTSD and are not abusive towards their partners. And when she said that, I was humbled. But like, when she said that, I had to kind of like process, because I'm like, okay, what you trying to tell me, ma'am? are you trying to suggest something? Like, no, like, I was like, okay, like, and so she just started explaining to me about what abuse looks like, but letting me know that everybody with ADHD and PTSD are not abusing their partners. So we can't say that the ADHD is causing the abuse or the PTSD is causing the abuse, because that's not how it works. It was a tough pill to swallow, because there's medication for ADHD. There ain't no medication for narcissistic personality disorder, okay? There's nothing you could do to fix that. And so that was a realization for me that, okay, well, maybe this ain't gonna be a rough patch, okay? Because medication can't fix it. I kept getting hit over the head that I had to leave. And that was one of those moments where I realized, okay, well, if it's not ADHD that's causing the abusive behavior, then yeah, something's got to give. I think I showed a lot of compassion and still made excuses after the fact. I still feel like people that have narcissistic personality disorder or people that suffer with those traits, I feel like they're still people, but some people really don't know that their behavior is toxic. However, if you point out the toxic behavior and they pretty much don't do anything about it or don't care to do anything about it, because there's people that have narcissism or NPD that are thriving and are fully aware and accept that, you know, they have been pretty crappy people to the people they love most or the people that love them most, and they actively make it a choice to try to be a better person. But there's some people that refuse, right? And so wherever people fall on the spectrum is where they fall on the spectrum. I refuse to believe that somebody that's hurting you and you tell them, hey, you're hurting me, and they pretty much give you a, oh, well. They can't say that they don't know. You know what I mean? Like, if you brought it to their attention, then they freaking know. It is what it is, you know? So you gotta really be mindful and wary of the love bombing. Because I didn't believe that I was love bombed. I really didn't believe it. But then when I sat and I really thought about it, that was a love bomb if I ever seen it, okay? That was a big love bomb. I'm homeless now. And nothing good came after that. Like, so, boom, get kicked out of my mom's house. Now I'm kicked out of my mom's house. I lose my job. I'm on EI. Okay, because I was laid off. I'm on EI. And then slowly but surely, we're having mad problems with the apartment that we moved into. Pretty much broke. Like, it's just so much. Everything just went down. Just going down, baby. Okay? Like, problematic. It was just horrible. We're stealing food because we're hungry. Like, what's going on? Oh my God. It's just so much. Like, it's just too much. Anyway, y'all, tell me in the comment section below your love bomb experience. If you caught it, if you didn't catch it, if you're experiencing it now, I would love to read all about it. I love you all so much. I'm sending you love and light, and I will definitely see you in the next one.